Hi, everyone. My name is Eamon O'Reilly, and I'll be demonstrating how to use the new Azure Functions OpenAI extension to build intelligent apps using Azure Functions and OpenAI. So the first thing I'll show here is that I'm in a new Flex Functions application. You can see here it's running the Flex plan. And this allows you to scale from 0 up to 1,000 instances really quickly. But it also gives you the ability to add in a virtual network, as well as to choose the instance size that you want your workloads to run on. So there's lots of benefits in the Flex consumption plan, especially if you're building intelligent apps. In this demo, I'll be focusing mostly on how you can bring your own data into Azure and have the ability to do semantic search on top of that. And so in our extension, we have the ability to automatically process content coming from lots of different sources and then store that into a vector database. This could be AI search, it could be Cosmos DB for MongoDB or Cosmos DB for Postgres, as well as Azure Data Explorer. So if you look in this function app, I have a set of functions here that basically allow me to process all of that data as it comes in, and then also be able to ask questions on top of it. And then I can also do chat sessions and be able to extend that and be able to call functions automatically to offer new capabilities into OpenAI. So you'll see at the bottom, I have this process PDF function. And what this allows you to do is, as new content gets added to a blob, it will automatically retrieve those PDFs from the blob. It will then call Azure Document Intelligence to convert those PDFs into text and store them into another blob so that then I can process them with our OpenAI extension. And so our OpenAI extension then processes those. It stores them onto a service bus queue, you can see here. And then we embed all of that content into AI search vector database so that we can then do a search and ask questions on top of it. You'll also see inside of here, I have other functions that allow me to create chats and be able to extend that using our assistant skills trigger. And this gives you the ability to extend the OpenAI LLM for capabilities it doesn't have today. And so you can basically extend that by calling into your own functions. And we make that very easy with our OpenAI extension in Azure Functions. So with that, I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of the code behind these functions and talk a little bit about the extensions that you can use to build your own applications today. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to share out VS Code, and we can walk through some of that. So you can see here I'm inside VS Code, and I'm going to walk you through some of those functions that I showed you inside the portal. So if you remember the first one, we basically were processing PDFs. So these could be any kind of documents, like Excel files or other types of documents. For in this example, we're doing PDFs. And you can see we have a blob trigger that takes those PDFs, it reads them, and then it calls Azure Document Intelligence to convert those PDFs into text files so that we can then process them with our OpenAI extension. So after it gets the results, you can see it returns them back as a blob output and puts them in another blob so that we can process them. And then we have that process blob function I showed you. And what this does, it basically takes those blobs, it creates a SAS URL out of them and puts them on Service Bus so that then we can start to read that content, embed it, and store it inside of AI search. And so here's that function that embed content. So you can see it's reading from those Service Bus queue that I just added those files to. So it's going to take those URLs, and then you can see it calls this embedding store output response. And what the embedding store output response is, this is where you start to see our new OpenAI extensions for Azure Functions. So you can see it has this embedding store output binding. And what this allows you to do is it will automatically take that content. So you can see it takes the URL here. We have input type of URL. We also support files or just text. And then you can specify where you want to store it. So in this example, I'm storing it in AI search under this index, but I could store it into Cosmos DB if that's where you wanted to store your semantic data, or you could store it in Azure Data Explorer by just changing which providers you want to use. And we also specify which model we want to do for the embeddings. So here you can see I'm using the OpenAI embeddings model. And so with that, we automatically store everything into AI search. And so just in those few lines of code, we've processed documents as they've come in, and then allows you to store them in AI search and be able to then ask questions of them. So when you want to ask questions of it, you can see I switch over to the ask function. And again, you'll start to see we have our new OpenAI extension here. And so this semantic search, it allows you to specify which store. So this is the AI store, what index you want to use. It'll take the question you have, which chat model you want to ask from, what the embeddings model is, and the system prompt. So again, all of this is specified in metadata. So you don't have to write much code at all to be able to ask questions about your own data and have it integrate directly into OpenAI with the vector database of your choosing. In this example, it's AI search. And so with that, it will do all of that work for you. It'll do all the embeddings. And then once you ask questions, it will send the results back to you so you can get the response. So let me show you how this works if I try to run it. So I have my little demo file here, and I've imported the healthcare document into AI search using that code I just showed you. And now I can basically ask questions of it. So I'll be able to send a response to the functions that's in the cloud, and it will come back with the response. And so you can see here, it's telling you information about your eye care coverage. It's saying which document you use to actually get that information, and it gives you that nice response back. I could also ask another question like, where's the healthcare support number for this? And you can see it's parsing AI search, getting that data back, and then send it to OpenAI so we can get a nice response back to the user automatically in the function. So you see it's giving the healthcare support number as well as what document it retrieved that from. So with that, you can easily bring in your data in real time from lots of different sources. They could be PDFs, you could be using Excel files, you could be using customer data, support data. All of that data can be automatically streamed in using our built-in bindings we already have in Azure Functions. And then with our new OpenAI extension, you can now convert that text data into embeddings and store it in your vector database of choice and have that fully exposed to your end clients, no matter if they're a website, an application, whatever you want. So that's the capabilities we offer inside of our OpenAI extension to make it easy to bring your own data and use it with OpenAI and the vector database choices. But we also have a capability for you to extend the chat experience in OpenAI so that you can automatically call functions to supplement capabilities that OpenAI doesn't have. So with that, I'll switch over and show you those chat experiences and kind of walk you through what's happening inside of here. So you can basically create a new chat assistant inside of our new bindings. So you can see here we have the ability to automatically create a new chatbot. And all you have to do is give it an assistant ID, and you can specify the instructions that you want to tell OpenAI when you make chat experiences with it. And with that, you'll create a chat experience so that you can now then use that ID and start to have a chat experience for your end users. And so when they try to ask a question, here you can see the new bindings we have. And so now you can ask a question. So you can do another HTTP call. You can give it the assistant ID and the prompt, the question that you want to have, as well as which model in OpenAI that you want to use. And our binding automatically does all of the work. This is system post input and stores the state for you. So just in a few lines of code, you now have the ability to have a full chat experience and get the response back to the user. We also have the ability in our binding so we can store all of the chat state automatically into Azure Table Storage. And the benefit of this is if you have a long-running chat or maybe the user disconnects and comes back a day later or a week later, you'll have the ability to, using our assistant query input binding, to specify which chat ID as well as the timestamp that you want to retrieve all of that chat history for. And you can retrieve it back to your client so that you allow the user to continue that rich experience in chat that they may need if they come back later on. So again, with that bindings we have, with just a few lines of code, you can have a full chat experience. But one of the things I mentioned earlier is sometimes the LLM can't do real-time or additional tasks. It really only has knowledge about what it's been trained on. And so in Azure OpenAI, they have the ability to automatically call functions if they can perform actions that it doesn't know how to do. So what we've done inside of our OpenAI extensions, we have a new trigger called Assistant Skills Trigger. And what this allows you to do is to automatically specify what capabilities you are able to provide to the OpenAI LLMs. So in this example, I say I have the ability to create tasks and which model that I want to use when we're integrating with chat. And so with just this line of code, what will happen is OpenAI, if it doesn't know how to store tasks, which it doesn't, it will automatically say, oh, I should call this function. And then we can process those tasks automatically and store them so that they're available for that customer's chat experience. And then also I have another skills trigger that says, get me the list of tasks. So OpenAI, again, when it's asked and it doesn't have the ability to do it itself, it will call this function and we can do our own code to retrieve those tasks for the customer. So if I go back into the demo, you'll see up here, I'm pointing to the website that I deployed up in my Azure function, and I'm going to create a new chat. So now I have a new chat created, and then I can ask questions like, where's Tacoma? And it just performs just like a normal chat experience is. You can see information about Tacoma. And then here, so you can see those assistant skill triggers. So I can say, remind me to buy some milk. So obviously OpenAI doesn't know how to do that, but so it's going to then see we've registered a capability to do that, and it calls our function and we reply with the response. So you see I've added a reminder for you to buy some milk. And this could be anything like look up support data internally to your system. It could be any capabilities you want to offer that extend the capabilities of the OpenAI large language model. And similarly, I can then ask, what task do I have? And again, it doesn't know how to do that, so it's going to call our function. We're going to retrieve all those tasks like buy some milk and send it back to you. So here you can see we have a full extensibility capability with OpenAI to automatically register new function capabilities and have those called using our OpenAI Assistant Skills Trigger. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go back into the portal and show you a little bit about how this works at runtime, since I just ran this a little earlier. Okay, so hopefully here I'm inside of Application Insights for that function app that was running in Flex. And you can see here that it runs as many instances as is needed to process all these requests that are coming in. But you can see that you can tell that it reads all of these blobs. So this is where all those PDFs and that document intelligence was happening. So it takes the blob, it then calls document intelligence to create text files for them, stores them back onto another blob. And then you can see our function stores those into a service bus queue so that I can then embed them. And you'll see that we actually call OpenAI to go and do the embedding. So down here is OpenAI. Sorry, this one here. So you can see it's calling text embeddings. It's also doing the chat experience. So automatically we have that integration. You can see everything happening in real time inside of Application Insights as these functions are being called. And also you can see the semantic search being stored into Azure Search. So you can see we're updating documents in there, and then our ability to ask questions of semantic search inside of AI search. So all of these capabilities I showed in the functions, you also get rich data analytics inside of Application Insights to understand what's happening and investigate any issues you might have. So with that, I will stop the demo, and hopefully you'll get a brief understanding of the new capabilities we offer inside of Azure Functions with our OpenAI extension, and how you can do real-time processing of your own data and store it in whichever vector database you like, as well as to have rich chat experiences where you can extend them with our Assistant Skill Trigger to perform functions on demand that the OpenAI may not be able to do. Okay,